This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets!
P, what's up? Here, give me a second.
Yep. Morning, Mike, Gio, Aaron, Nick, Fly, Steven, Houdini, what up?
All right, hello?
Yes.
All right. I got a lot to say, and I got some sleep. And some coffee.
Oh,
I see
great.
Steven down there. But,
Mark, unfortunately, I can't, have coffee because I have to fast this morning.
oh, okay.
So I may be cranky. So
Oh, all right. I won't poke the bear. How about that? I'll take it
no,
easy
don't.
on you.
What do you want to talk about? Aaron Rodgers' leadership and
I
how
want to
good it's
no.
been?
I want to talk about more than that. I want to talk about the Aaron Rodgers haters, and I want to talk about. I'll wait till the room gets packed. How about that?
It's fine. Buckeye, good morning.
Good morning.
What up, Buckeye?
Who can hate Aaron Rodgers? Good morning, Mark.
I'm glad you asked that. Folks that said he's immobile, 40 years old, coming off an Achilles. Maybe the speed of the game has passed him by. Uh, and dude, these are folks who will never come out and say, you know what, I was wrong about it. They're too wrapped up in their own ego, too wrapped up
Well,
in
wait, Mark,
wanting to be
1 second.
heard and speaking loudly. No, Pete, let me say this, man, because I'm sick and tired of it. You had folks walking around here like experts on the platform, and it's like, I'm just a fan, dude. I'm just a guy who likes to watch football. I like to have conversation. I like to learn from people. I love learning from, and I see Dom and listener. I love learning from Dom about scouting stuff, and he went to scout hearing insight because I don't watch a lot of college, so I like to learn from people on here. But then on the flip side, and I'm specifically not referring to Dom, on the flip side, you got guys walking around here like experts who are like, oh, well, he's 40 years old coming off an Achilles. He's immobile. He's old. No quarterback has done this. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you're really going to doubt a guy who's a first ballot Hall of Famer who operates on like a different level of play, who's a champion in a Super Bowl? Like, what are you doing? And then you get evidence that the guy's playing great. Where's the apology tour? Like, where are the folks saying, you know what? Look, I'll say I was wrong because I was wrong about Aaron Rodgers. I thought, you know what? I don't know if we're going to see the guy who spins out of the pocket and looks like he can run and evade pressure and get be as mobile as he's being. Like, this is a revelation to me. I was wrong about it. I'm happy to say it. Where's the other folks who were saying this guy was going to be like a corpse on the
Well,
field?
Mark,
Where are these people?
can I ask you something? So
Yes.
if I say still, I have to, listen. There's a worry in me though that he's going to have a bad game. Like it's bound to happen for sure.
Yeah, but that's
So
different, Pete. That's different because listen, no quarterback can play perfect football. Josh Allen's looked remarkable through 3 games, but let me see what he does against an incredible defense. And the rest of it, you know what I mean? Like, look, it's only week 3. It's really by week 6 that the stat lines and shit start to make sense because week 1 is a liar. We all know that. So it's like around week 6 you start to really see what's happening with these teams. And Pete, you have never said, "Oh man, Aaron Rodgers is going to be." Guys, let's not. You were the first person saying, "Listen, I'm going to stand up and say Rodgers is going to be good, guys." Like, I'm not going to doubt Aaron Rodgers. Those are your
Mark,
words.
but Mark, there's no comparison what we upgraded from. We had a guy that couldn't even read a defense. We had a guy in Tim Boyle that couldn't throw the ball in the ocean if he was standing on the pier. We had Trevor Simeon, who's at God best a journeyman backup quarterback. I mean,
But Petey, that's the practical take. Mark's saying that there were detractors saying that Jets fans are delusional to think that Aaron Rodgers could be any semblance or form of his old self. That's what he's talking about. Not that
yeah,
it's better
I
than
mean,
Zach and Tim Boyle.
listen,
I don't
I'll
think
wait till
anyone
the
knew
end of the
that.
season. I'll wait till the end of the season. Just make the playoffs, Mark. And
I'll
I
tell
mean,
you a
I
guy
get
that
what
took a
you're
lot of.
saying.
I'll tell you a guy that got ripped in the off season for his takes a lot was Lee John. He defended Will McDonald. He
Yes, he
defended
did.
Aaron Rodgers. So far, 3 games in, it's playing out pretty good for him. His takes are looking pretty good.
Mark, you got some people with hands up, I see.
I think Chris and then Charles. Chris, good morning.
Yep.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing?
What's up, Chris?
Great, man. How you doing?
I'm chilling. Good morning, Petey. Good morning, Mark. Buckeye, everybody. What's happening? Real fast. I see there are a couple of additions to the Broncos roster. I think to the practice squad, it's Quan Alexander, who I'm sure some of you are familiar with. This is an inside linebacker. And Zach Cunningham. Reason being, I'm sure you guys know that their starting linebacker, Alex Singleton, is out for the year with a ACL,
I
unfortunately.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently he played 2/3 of the game and then reported some soreness, and then they checked him out. So, well wishes to him and his family. It will affect them. Obviously, you do have some additions: Quan Alexander, Zach Cunningham. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to leave Cody Barton, Christian Welch, Justin Sternad, and Lavelle Bailey. Coming from Locked On Broncos, there will be, I guess, a question to who's going to wear the green dot. And I guess we'll find out on Sunday. But those seem to be the candidates at inside linebacker.
Chris, before I get to Charles, what do you think of Aaron Rodgers' detractors?
Detractors in what sense?
40 years old, coming off an Achilles, and that's the extent of the analysis. That the game maybe has gotten too fast for the guy. That no quarterback of his age has done what he's doing right now. That he couldn't roll out of the pocket. Oh, listen, man.
Mark,
it's accountability.
Wait, real quick. Mark, you know what's crazy? I rewatched the game a couple of times, and I actually took a photo during the game. And Charles, jump in after this. Where is it? It said quarterbacks that – hold on here. Where the heck is it? Quarterbacks that – all right, here it is. Most playoff starts by a quarterback after turning 40. Brett Favre, 1-1, 2. Drew Brees, 1-3, 4, and Tom Brady, 10-4, 14. So that's the answer. Can Aaron Rodgers do that? My answer is I think he can.
Hey, Mark, come back to me on that. Pause. Let Charles and Steven go first. All right.
Charles, what's up?
Good morning, guys. Struggling here a little bit with the China virus, but hanging in there.
Feel better, bro.
Thank you, Bud. Mark, I just don't understand the anger about that, in the sense that clearly people who were saying that were wrong, based on his performance. But anyone who said that leading up to the start of the season, that's not an outlandish take based on the historic evidence at the position. Like Petey just mentioned, those 3 guys. It's really one, right, out of those 3 guys that has something to put down on paper after being age of 40 of any magnitude. So the whole idea that, he probably his best days are behind him, he might not be able to perform at a high level at the age of 40. That statement in itself is not outlandish. Now, if you're saying it today based on these first 3 games, then you just don't know what you're watching. To me, that's more outlandish if you're doubling down on it. But anyone that said that prior to the season, I don't got a real problem with it, just based on historical perspective. That's it.
I hear what you're saying, Charles. I think it was more, and I understand the history behind it. I think the history is tricky because whenever you're talking about 1, an all-time great, and 2, modern medicine, and the rest of it, and the fact that this guy has paid attention to his body. I think if you searched for the facts around whether or not Aaron Rodgers was going to be a good quarterback coming into this year, I think the facts are there. But I think some folks cut the analysis short and so are surprised by what they're seeing today. And then are still standing on 10 toes about the fact that, we're going to hear lots of quibbling. We're going to hear lots of, oh, well,
And
there's a
that
reasonable perspective.
And
I
that's
understand.
100% valid by you to be pissed about that, because that's the part that's inexplicable. If you predict something's not going to happen and then it happens, and then you come up with ways to prove why it happened that are just ridiculous to justify your original opinion, then you're just a jackass. Which leads me to your other point that you made. These experts on Twitter, there are none. Okay, they're fans who claim to be experts, put a headset on and start talking shit like they know this and know that. They know no more than the average, well, um, well studied fan, somebody who watches, football regularly over a long period of time, who's not a moron. These guys have nothing up on them at all. And I can name names. I can stay here like you can name names.
Yeah, we'll leave
And
it
it
alone.
actually
Yep.
is nauseating. These guys consider themselves literally like announcers, and it's really a fucking joke.
Charles, wasn't it a pleasure? I hope you feel better, man. Wasn't it a pleasure that what you saw? I mean, I know it wasn't vintage Aaron Rodgers,
No,
but at least you went and saw something that was
Petey,
worth it.
it was the best watching of a quarterback run an offense for this team that I've seen in a fucking decade. Honestly, that feeling that you get as a fan, whether you're at the game or you're at home, when the quarterback drops back, when the back foot hits and it's a clean pocket, you just almost feel that there's a completion there to be made. Last guy that made me feel like that consistently was probably Pennington when he was on his groove, when he was at his peak, when Chad
Mm.
dropped back and had a clean pocket and the ball came out. You knew it was going in the proximity of one of our players.
Did you feel that way with Favre or no?
I did, but it was such a short sample size, Buck, that you got up to that was like, holy shit, this is what real quarterbacking looks like again. But that wasn't a large gap between Favre and Chad, right? It was like a little bit in between where it got weak. We're coming out of the
Yes.
desert now, to get quarterback play. So this looks even more magnificent than it actually is, and it was magnificent. He was a conductor. He had the thing in his fucking hand, and he was waving it the whole game.
You're right.
Great point.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
And then I want to get to Steven. Charles, to your point, man, I am so happy for fans like you and the older fans and the fan base that have had to watch putrid offensive football, and now we're getting to see it's. There's this dude who does like on YouTube. He does the rundowns. He puts on all the different jerseys and talks about all the teams. Can't remember the guy. And when he gets to like he does it every. I don't know how he does it. It's incredible. I don't know how you watch that much football and be that creative. It's incredible. But he for the Jets one, he's like, you got this is what real quarterback play looks like, and you guys have been keeping that a secret from us the whole time. Like that's what it feels like. We're watching actual like professional offense, and it's like it's a revelation for our football team.
Yeah. Hey, Charles, 1 second. You still there?
Yes, sir.
So, Charles, I'm at the game, and then I just turn to my dad, and I'm just like, Dad. I call him Dad. This guy's surgical right now. And my dad looked and he gave me a look that he rarely does at a Jet game. And he just like kind of like his lips went, like shaking up and down his head, like, yeah, you're right. Like I never see that from my dad. And I've been to over 100 and something games with my father. And it was just a masterpiece. And I know it wasn't a 300-yard game, but Charles, he was doing stuff at will. And everybody could say it was all the Patriots were banged up. They haven't given up a passer rating that high in 4 years. So that means something to me. I don't know about you, Charles, but to me, that means something.
No, it absolutely means something. And you're giving the dad son perspective, and I'll give it to you from the other side. I have two boys who basically got their, teeth sharpened during the Rex years. Like one was 12, one was 10, like that age. And, we used to go to the games and have all kinds of parties, and it was exciting shit around here. Then the black hole came in, right? Like this whole 13 years. And, I'm going through the motions with them, and we watch the games, we go to road games and shit. And yeah, they're Jet fans like we are, but I could see the silent disgust brewing. You know, they don't like say it, but it starts to clobber you. Their eyes Thursday night watching that fucking game, because they were Rodgers fans before he was a Jet. You know, it finally sank in their brains. This freaking guy is our quarterback, and the awe. Forget about the production. Just the way the game was managed at the quarterback position. Somebody said it a little while ago. We're so starved to see that. We watch other games on Monday night, other teams, and some teams seem to get this shit regularly, right? We can point to a Mike White game in the last 3 years and shit like that. It has been so fucking bad that there are no words to describe. This was so refreshing. I just hope it's not a case of, you know, a shit team making us look a little bit better. But even if that is the case, I know what I saw. And I saw a guy identify open receivers and spread it around and get the ball there accurately. Doesn't sound like a lot to ask for, but as a Jet fan, holy shit. It is. It seems like a lot to ask for.
Charles, I want to get to Steven, but it's wild the revisionist history we're hearing now from fans that are not New England fans, mind you, because it's like Keon White is a stud. He's a very good player, and Christian Gonzalez is amongst the best corners in the league. And for the most part, he had Garrett Wilson locked up. Like it was he's had a very difficult go of it. I still think New England's going to field a nice defense over the course of the year, but now we're being told by fans from other fan bases, oh, well, whatever, New England's lucky if they'll win 3 games or some other nonsense. It's crazy.
You're right.
To
There's
me.
still fans doubling down on Zach Wilson. Look on here. There's some fucking people here still claim that Zach Wilson's great, and we fucked that up completely. You're always going to have people who don't know what they're looking at.
All right, Steven, good morning. How are you?
Charles, good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, of course.
You as well, gentlemen.
Steven?
What's going on, guys? PD, I kind of align with you where I'm not ready to just say that he's back 100% after. Look, that was the best quarterback game I've ever seen in my lifetime as a Jets fan from a Jets quarterback. So, but at the same time, it was just out of nowhere. I mean, I'm just curious how he's rest. He looked completely different than had he looked in Tennessee. And then, you know, we've all gone through this as Jet teams in the past. After a big win, you know, I'm pretty sure, I'm like 80% sure it's going to be different, which is why I have confidence against Denver. But we've seen so many times that we've had a big win and then we'll have a letdown. I don't think it'll happen because Rodgers was in the room, but then it's like we talk crap about Saleh and his coaching and will he allow a letdown? I think I'm pretty confident we're going to win against Denver, but like I said, it's just I need to keep seeing it just in the sense to be reassured from a Jets fan perspective, because I mean we have all the tools. Mike Williams is getting ready, is getting better. Olu, I have confidence in him playing after what they've done in the offseason. So I'm looking forward to it, and we should be able to take advantage of the middle of the field with them. So I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, I'm just not ready after one great game just to say he's back completely, because I'm not ready because I don't want to get snake bitten.
No, Steven, I know that. But, Mark, let me just go for a second. I just like the fact that he's going up to the line, taking command, setting the right protections. That's what I like to see. I don't think he's losing that. I think he's going to be really good this year. Just stay consistent. There's just a part of me that.
Well, the tempo too. The way they came out, I know we didn't get any points out of it because of the penalties at that first drive, but just the way the tempo was, I believe they went no huddle. They went high tempo. They spread it out. He seems to like spreading it out with 4 or 5 wide, dissecting the defense, and then just going to whoever's available, whether it's down the field to Mike Williams on a comeback, or just dumping it off to Brees or Allen or Conklin. So, and I'm really glad we got Conklin involved, because it just shows every week I think is going to be a different guy. Like Brees Hall catching that pass against the linebacker,
correct,
was, I thought, showed the NFL now, like we could just dump it to if you put a linebacker on Brees, he's going to catch a touchdown. And
Steven,
now
that was a laser throw. That was even he threw it to him like a receiver.
That's what I'm learning about. I mean, I've always loved and watched Aaron Rodgers, but when you watch him on your team, you see it. like all his throws are lasers. I mean, that throw. How about just the little throw to Rucker? Like, he was scrambling out of the pocket and just threw a dump off to Rucker. But it was a late. All his throws just get there so fast. They get there so fast, but somehow they still have a little touch on them. That's what makes him different than like a Zach Wilson or young quarterbacks that have all this throwing power but don't know how to like put a little bit of touch on it. Like, that's what makes him great.
It's an excellent point, man. He throws, the ball gets there fast, but it's a very catchable ball, and it's in the right spot. Almost always in the right spot. It's a pleasure to watch. Steven, and I'll say this, and I want to hear from Buckeye. Oh, sorry, Pete. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're not. I wanted to read Alex's. Look in the Jumbotron, guys. Alex Clark's tweet is, love it.
Oh,
tweet.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Incredible. And that's one off season of work. Think about it. There's another area where folks are eating crow. Like, we had one healthy lineman going into the season with Tittman, and I'll do it, Pete. No, Pete. If we're not willing to hold people accountable, why can't I do it?
No, it's not. I'm going to hold you accountable because now the backup lineman that we drafted is playing. So now
let me get my point out first, if I may.
Yeah.
All right. Tittman, we were told one healthy lineman in the interior. Okay. ABT off injury. Oh, he won't be the same player. Who knows? Oh man, the rest of the line, no one started. Oh wait. And then the GM goes out. He gets Tyron Smith. He gets John Simpson. Oh, John Simpson's a holding merchant. He's terrible, guys. Like, he's gonna kill your drives, John Simpson. All right, great. Thanks for that fucking genius insight. Okay, and then you got right tackle Morgan Moses. Oh well, Morgan's best days are behind him. Like, I just don't think. Listen, he could have had career-ending knee. He's out for like 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. Like, and he's been great. Like, look, I'll just say this for Steven, and then I want to get to Buckeye. Steven, believe me, I totally understand same old Jet mentality. I have some of it too. Like, I'm like, we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop because we are fans, so we've been battered and bruised by this football team. But the guy who doesn't give a shit about same old Jet mentality is Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't walked for 40 years in the desert looking for water. He's got a championship pedigree. He could give a fuck. Forgive my language, but like that, and that's the most important position on your football team. So, like, for the folks that are same old Jets, I get it, but at some point, like, especially if you said this guy was going to be bad and then aren't walking it back, or at least saying, you know what, I was wrong about it. Like, come out and just say that, please. And say it before the Denver game. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you, Steven, but just come out and say it before the Denver game.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of him looking the way he looked against the Patriots. I just don't know if we're going to get that every single week. It may be more along the lines of combination between that and Tennessee. I mean, look, if we get Thursday night Aaron Rodgers, we're going to win 13 games and be the 1 seed, and like Schrager, and he's going to win MVP like Schrager predicted. If he looks like that, if he's in that type of control, I just need to see it obviously more than one time. Like, honestly, the game that I didn't expect to be so big, that's going to be huge, is going to be a fun matchup, is the Minnesota game. Both on neutral fields, both with the same problems in terms of time and travel and all this stuff. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most. So,
well, this Denver game,
that's the one
yeah, I hear you. And this Denver game also isn't a slouch, but I'll say this too. Guys, has any offensive player truly had a breakout performance? Like, Lazard's had a couple touchdowns, and Conklin, just shy of 100 yards. But has Breece Hall taken over a football game yet? Has Garrett Wilson? Like, these guys,
Mark,
no one's had their breakout game.
Garrett Wilson had a couple of dominant games against, practices and, the joint practices. He was dominant against the Commanders and the Giants. So hopefully, they get on the same page. Buckeye, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm looking forward to the culture building side, because this putrid-ass franchise we call ours, I think when I heard Rodgers talk about, like, first we got to learn how to win, second we got to learn how to dominate, and third we got to learn how to deal with when other teams are seeing us dominate. Like, is a Herculean thing, and I think that's what's going to be exciting, is building a culture that we haven't had. Like this organization has had no culture. It's had no coach to build a culture. It's had no QB to build a culture. And I think this is nothing short of a Herculean task, and he's the right guy to do that. And I think he laid out a blueprint of what the plan is. That's what I'm excited about. I was never doubting. It's only a matter of which version of great. It's the culture building side that I'm excited for.
Yeah, you know what I like too, Buckeye? And listen, I was worried about Rodgers with the media and all that, and sometimes I don't. But when he said today, is anybody talking about right now about training camp, about the 2 practices that he missed, that fans were in outrage about? A lot of people were. I didn't care. And then when you found out from Ian O'Connor, who said Aaron Rodgers asked every one of his teammates if he could go on that trip. Nobody knew that. And he asked every one of them, and they told him yes. So there's not a big deal to that. And there was, TV shows about Rodgers missing mandatory days of minicamp, days when it was 2 days.
Petey, producers had to create segments for their show. Hey guys, in this block, we're going to talk about Rodgers missing 2 days of minicamp and how it shows like a lack of leadership. And it's Rodgers. Like media people, professionals had to put that block in their show. It's like it's absurd,
know,
man.
Mark.
There's a lot of hatred from Rodgers that we inherited when Rodgers became the quarterback.
Part of it is not hatred. Part of it is just the business. I mean,
that's fair
again,
too.
I think again sometimes with spaces, and I don't watch ESPN in the morning as normally as I used to. But again, you have to understand. Even before that, it would have been the newspaper and the radio business, that are, especially at slow points, are that's what they're here to do. They're here to kind of create a story, sometimes where there isn't one. Now that we're in season, you will still hear angles and stories. When you really sit down and think of it, you're like, well, wait, where did they come up with that? And then I'll end on this. When you have, and I got to go to Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, and everybody else who's involved in sports debate. Sports debate is very big business. Mark, as you said, they have TV shows where, come on, people, do you honestly think that sometimes that some of the topics that they debate, that's their real position? They have hours that they need to, that they kind of have to fill to a certain extent. So if we had to do that, I'm sure we would all sit down in a production meeting and, okay, what's this topic? All right, Petey, I want you to take this side. Mark, I want you to take this side. Buckeye, take this side. Jokes, take this side. Hey, I'm filling out my time. So there's a certain amount that is garbage. I'm gonna go on mute because I know you got hands and people who want to speak, but
thanks, Chris.
It's gonna keep going all year. Keep the main thing the main thing. Not to quote somebody, but it's all about Denver. All right.
Yep. Mark, you done messed up, Ron. No, come on in.
Yo, what's happening? Mark, Petey, how's everybody doing? I hope you guys have
Morning,
a great
brother.
day today. No, so we talk about Aaron Rodgers, in like Vegas and shit like that. So honestly, I think he's going to remember all that trash Sean Payton was talking. He's in the locker room. He's going to be in the huddle talking to guys in guys' ears. He's like, hey, you remember when he said this? He said all this. Let's go out here and let's just show this guy. Let's absolutely just rock the shit out of him. And I think that's going to play a role in the game this weekend. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, people are expecting the Jets to blow out Denver. Mark, I don't want to get in.
I mean, Vegas kind of is 6.5, 7-point favorites, PD.
I know.
This is a new life.
Well, Mark, I don't want to get into same old Jet mentality because I have it. I think I have it more than you. No disrespect to you, Mark. I'm not trying to compare my
None
fandom
taken.
to yours.
Yeah.
You know, so I have it still. Like, there's a part of me still that, look, I don't want to dominate here. I want to get to Charles and Jokes.
Can I say something outlandish? I want to get Jokes hasn't spoken yet, but can I say something outlandish? If the Jets win,
not a starter.
All right. Look. We'll come back to Olu. We'll come back to that, and for Chris's sake and everyone else's, I want to come back to this Denver matchup. But I'm going to say this: if the Jets win the next 3 football games, we really should start talking about a title run and adding folks to the roster, because then this shit is for real. These next 3 games are.
That's a great
pivotal.
point, Mark.
Here, Jokes, good morning.
It's for real now.
What's up, boys? So,
what's up?
I was hearing you guys talk about Rodgers and the culture, and I just actually wanted to add a little bit to that, like a few nuggets that I recently. So I just came across it from a player, that is. So you got.
Lost you guys. Shit. You guys hear me?
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, I hear you.
You switched
Yeah,
Bluetooth?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
So you know they had the event with Tyron Smith, and he was talking about himself. He basically said that he signed with the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers. Like for like the people that are like, oh, Aaron Rodgers never attracts anybody. It came from the actual All-Pro Hall of Fame player himself. He said when Dallas didn't pick up his stuff, which he was annoyed about, there was no doubt that he came here because of Aaron Rodgers. And he also said that he despised the MetLife turf. Said it's the worst. Like, the fact that he was willing to play here for 8 games, he was willing to do that because of Rodgers. Another thing that he also said was the fans and the media do not really understand how tight knit they are. He said he gets one of the best locker rooms I've been around. And he said, I don't think people understand the drive this guy has to win here. So, we can speculate with our opinions. We can talk about what we believe by just kind of reading what the beat writer's saying, formulating our own opinions. But you got a 13-year vet who's probably going to walk into the Hall of Fame, one of the best left tackles in the last 10 years, tell you that he came here because of this quarterback. He also says that you got, they haven't even gotten, they're still, working through things. And he said, basically, for everyone that doubts that Rodgers is here to win, they have absolutely no idea that the drive the guy has to win here. He wants to stamp his legacy.
Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for speaking. And listen, we're all fans. You know what I mean? We're all reading the tea leaves, right? We also know that great locker rooms, and this is what we're told, great locker rooms make great teams. So that is super encouraging. And for everyone that said, oh, Rodgers is a bad leader, dude, we had a guy come in here and say, I'm not going to name names, but be like, man, where's the leadership on your football team? That was a serious question that they asked. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That was after the San Francisco game, Mark.
I'm like, are you that's wild to me. You're telling me that Aaron Rodgers and Mosley, who's been here and seen dreadful play, that he's like, come on, dude, stop. I don't want to hear that question again. As a
Mark,
fan,
can
please.
I say something to Jokes? I'm glad you brought that up about Smith. That was really good. It's refreshing. Jokes too. And
well,
Mark.
when's the last time you ever had a player of that caliber? And yeah, he's had some injuries. He himself said that and again, I was talking to Frankie V about it, so it's not. I wasn't there. This is secondhand information. But Matty Ice was there, and Matty Ice can actually attest to it. He's very cognizant that it's the end of his career as well. He's had some injuries. I think he would. I think Natty, if you come up here, he couldn't even eat at the event because he's on such a strict diet. Like the guy wants to make his money too, right? Like he has an incentive to play every single game monetarily. But like when you hear a guy of that stature talk about this shitbag organization, because it's been a shitbag organization for the last 10 years, that is the that is what you traded for Aaron Rodgers for MVPs. You traded
Yep.
for his, but what you also traded for was his, like the aura. Like you're trading for the best, one of the best of all time, and from all accounts, he's been that way. You know, throughout this last 2 years being here, and
I want
that's
to
the
give
shit
you
you.
Charles jokes. It's a
Chuck,
far
yeah.
cry
Yeah,
from a jet tax, right?
correct. Yes, correct.
Wait, can I say one thing? Jokes. Even like how Brees Hall is yesterday, he was in the media and he jumped in like making, jokes about with Rodgers. They're together, that locker room. Sauce in him, like it's refreshing. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah, he said it's one of the most tight knit groups he's been around. And again, he's been on teams that won 13, 14, not may have not had postseason success, but regular season success. Tyron's been a part of a lot of really good regular season teams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey,
jokes. I'm
jokes,
not just
jokes,
saying
real
this.
fast.
I'm glad you brought this up, man. That was excellent.
I'm glad you added that last piece. Pause. Um, it's one it's who validates you because this is kind of does it not validate and make you feel better about some of the things within your franchise, okay? Especially when you've been told or when you felt it yourself that my franchise is piss poor. Excuse my um, excuse the terminology. But I was just about to ask jokes to really give them this man's resume.
Well, Chris, I'm going to take it one step further. Charles, I know you got your hand up, so I'll be quiet after this. It's different when a credential media guy is asking you questions with a camera in front of your face, right?
Yep.
So, like everything that you say will be recorded. You have to be measured. You have to be. It's different when like Matty Ice or Lejon or Frankie or all these people are talking to him without a camera in his face. Like he doesn't have to say any of this stuff. Like it doesn't matter. Like who's gonna believe like them? You're a nobody, just a fan. So the fact that he would like if they sucked and he was like, man, he's a real fucking jerk off. They'll be like, oh, Tyron Smith said it. Aaron Rodgers is a jerk off. Really? Who? Where'd you get it from? No, so the fact that he was this genuine with a bunch of people that like it's not going to go anywhere. Like we're talking about it, but like the media is not talking. Nobody's talking about it. So he's giving that to you unsolicited and answering you these questions, and he's saying these glowing things without it helping anyone. It's not like he's saying it and it's going to be like for all of us to read. No, he's saying it to like he's shooting the shit with somebody. That to me means even more if you want my opinion on it.
Yeah, no, I mean
Yep.
it's almost unsolicited.
Correct.
Nobody had to prod you or lead you there. But I'll end on this because I know Charles is patiently waiting. I know who Tyron Smith is. I know what he's done. I know where he came from. Pause. I know, like as Joke said, I know some of the successful teams and players he's played with. I like it. I'm on mute.
Yeah. Shout out to Tyron Smith, USC. Charles, go ahead.
Yeah. Just a quick thing. First of all, what Chris mentioned before, I 100% agree with. A lot of these talking heads, they just talk shit because they're trying to get your attention. They want ratings. It's like that even with regular news, right? When we were growing up, you turned on the news, you got the news. Now they call themselves news, but it's entertainment. They're just trying to get ratings. It's not just about the topic of what they're reporting. They're trying to engage you because the name of the game is ratings, not the truth. So he's spot on, and it's throughout all of society without question. Mark, to your point, and I like the way you framed it. If they win the next three, you have to start talking about them as title contenders. That's absolutely 100% correct, in my opinion. But uh, you have to look at the recency bias that's taking place today. We all feel great today because we witnessed a great game and a great quarterback game, which is something we don't really see as a Jet fans. But think about it, right? We got our ass kicked opening day. Second game, we were on the ropes against a team that we have a much better roster than. If not for Levis's idiocy throughout that game, even towards the end, where most teams you would agree find a way to tie that after we took the lead. And then we beat a shit team this week, okay? This past week, and we're very happy about it. I'm not trying to pour cold water on everybody, but if you look at it from that perspective, I think we're feeling a little too good today, and I would like to come back 2 weeks from now. Of course, I'll come back before that and see if we feel the same way. I don't think we've proved that much yet. And to Tyron's comments and all the happiness, that's what winning does, guys. We forgot that. Okay, when you start winning, guys have each other's backs. People are smiling. Everybody's bought in. That is, you can say that's Rodgers, but I'll take it a step further. This team is winning, so they don't feel like dog shit. They feel like a fucking football team.
Charles, only a 2-game sample on this. At
No
least
question.
at least we're watching our team beat teams we're supposed to beat, because that wasn't even a thing.
Correct. And that's exactly how I'd categorize it, what you just said. For the first time in a very long time, in consecutive weeks, we beat two teams that we were supposed to beat. And we should feel good about that. But categorize that as you just did. Because now we got another shit team coming in, and we really should beat them. No ifs, ands, or buts, right? Minnesota is the first real test since opening day. And I think that'll show a lot.
I wouldn't gloss over Denver, Charles. We'll talk a bit. I think we'll have time to talk about the
Well,
matchup, but
that's
I would
good.
not gloss
What's
over
the
what they're
line
doing.
on that, Mark? It's got to be like a
7,
6-point spread. 7, right?
6.5, 7.
So if it's
Yeah,
a
but the
7-point spread at
3 points.
home
There you go.
and you're a good team, right? We should win that game without a stroke. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I think with Rodgers, I think they're a much better football team than they've put on tape because I don't think their offense is at their stride. The defense is starting to look right, but it's still early in the season. I don't think they've played their best football yet. So
Okay.
you want to catch the Jets in this first stretch of 6 games is my point. And listen, you're not going to have Bo Nix is not Will Levis. He's not going to give the game away.
Yeah, but
He's
he is.
not
He is,
Brissett.
though.
He's
He
a
is
rookie,
at this
Mark.
stage. He is.
I know, but watch him.
Yeah, but
All
they just
right,
beat.
all right.
But they went to Tampa, beat the
Wait.
dog. They went to Tampa,
Yeah.
beat the dog shit out of them.
They did, and nobody thought that.
Listen,
Interesting. Sorry, Jokes.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say interesting lines I just looked at. Raiders, Ravens, and Dolphins are favorites this week. Those are all surprising. I do think the Ravens could beat Buffalo, but the Raiders and Dolphins are favorites this week on the line.
Well, Mark, let me just say one thing, Mark, to that
and then
point.
T's
Like,
waiting. Sorry, go ahead.
only because it's 7 points. Well, Mark, if you want to get technical, and I'm going to be, like the Bills were 6.5-point favorites over Arizona, and you thought they should have dog walked them, and it was 6.5. So this spread shit to me is bullshit, man. I don't give a shit about spreads, man.
To that end, PD, though, I'd ask you this, Mark, in the sense, because it is in our Jet pedigree. Like, part of you automatically will start to make an excuse in case we lose to a team we're supposed to beat. We don't do that intentionally. It's just part of our DNA. If we lose to Denver on Sunday, are you not disgusted, Mark?
Disgusted.
Hold
Panic
on.
City.
Okay, hold on. I'm not looking at it that way because I look at it, I look at football as matchups. And when I see a quarterback playing well within himself, not trying to do too much, getting the ball out with timing, I understand all that. Listen, I understand the Jets' defensive front and that Knicks hasn't faced pressure or a secondary. I get all that. But when I see a quarterback getting the ball out with timing and is okay running if the play breaks down, and I can't ignore what Will Levis did on the ground against the Jets. And this is a good defense. In a lot of ways, Denver is an excellent defense that has never had an offense to support. Does that sound familiar? As a Jets fan, I don't think they're a punk football team. That's my only point. Now, the Jets should beat them. I agree with that point, but this is not an easy football game. I'm not saying they're a bunch of scrubs because I don't think they are. That's just my football take.
And I get it, but I see them as a bottom third football team in the league. Would you agree? Bottom third.
Oh,
Bottom
Definitely.
third. That's 10
Definitely.
teams. They're not.
Well, Mark, wait, hold on, Mark. Let's be fair though. Denver was not in your vocabulary when we were going through AFC playoff teams. Like they weren't. They were
yeah,
definitely a bottom AFC team for
okay.
sure.
But now we've got a 3 games. Now we're actually seeing this in the preseason. Now we're seeing these. Do you think that Bo Nix is going to look better in week 10 than he looks today?
No,
Probably.
I gotta be.
no. I think the tape will come out, and
But
I think that's when it gets difficult for these guys, to be honest.
what I got,
Sorry.
Okay.
what I will say is, and we're talking about regular season. If you want an actual opportunity to win this division, not saying you will, not saying you won't, you basically have to win every home game. All right.
Yeah, you got to
Okay.
beat the
That's
teams you're
fair.
supposed to,
So, like,
Joe.
you should win every home game. It's not, and I'm just saying, and I'm not. I'm. It's not about talking about the Bills. I'm not. But the fact of the matter is, Buffalo will win almost every home game, and then win 4 games or 3 games outside it. So if you're going to keep pace with a team that is a well-oiled machine that plays well, that beats the people they're supposed to, Buffalo, they have a clunker every now and then, and they're like, oh, like they lost to the Vikings last year or 2 years ago. Like they'll have a game where you're like, oh fuck, they sure what happened. For the most part, 90% of the time, they're going to beat every team they're supposed to beat. If you're a serious team, you need to beat Denver this week. Like it should be convincingly. It shouldn't be like style points, but you should run the ball down their throat because that's the way you attack their defense. And Bo Nix should not score. Like you can't let them fucking score on you. Like their offense still is putrid. The next 4 games, Mark, you said 3. I think it's actually 4, and I don't even really count this game. But if you win this game, which you should, you then have the Vikings, you then have the Bills at home, and then you turn around. You're going to Pittsburgh. You got 3 undefeated teams coming up. What they might not be undefeated at that, when we play them, but right now, today, you got 4 game stretch with 3 undefeated teams after this team. This team is your tune up. Get yourself ready for that 3 game stretch where you're going to play right now the best teams in the NFL. We'll know
Good
more.
point.
We'll know more about this team in about a month.
I agree. Guys, there's a ton of hands up. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Shout out to some of the listeners. Darren Tewksbury, Moscow, Hexagon, what up? Jeremy Jones, PK, Sad Jack Calendar, Steven, Long Suffering, Jeff Fan, Neil Brooks over on the other side. Just try and be quick, guys, if you can. There's a ton of hands up. It's been a
Yeah,
great
T and then
conversation.
Dom. Oh, sorry, Pete. Good.
No, Mark, you got me riled up a little bit because I want to talk about the backup offensive lineman. Because since you're holding
Oh.
people accountable, I want to hold you accountable.
All right. All
Go
right.
ahead,
Let's
Tylee,
let
and then
these guys
Dom.
talk. Good, T.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. What's up,
What
man?
up?
Good morning.
Yeah, what's up, man? I just wanted to talk about this O line, man. I think that's one thing I'm very happy about. This interior offensive line looks amazing right now. You know, Titman, everybody was fucking panicking about the snap issues. This man is right now, to me, from what I see, the second best center in the league right now, playing like it right now. John Simpson, very, very fucking great surprise. AVT looks to be back. Now, one thing I will say, man, that I do like about this offensive line is like there is a different vibe to this group. Like this group is actually taking taking the reins and being, the club bound that nasty that everybody's been saying that they wanted, and that's John Simpson's mostly the catalyst of that. To be honest with you, when it comes to the Broncos, I think we're gonna have Bo Nix in hell. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, like we're like, yes, I understand that he can run, he has mobility, but to be honest with you, if you have Sherwood out there, like the defense looks a lot faster, a lot more athletic. You know, I don't think that they have enough firepower or like personnel to fuck with us. To be honest with you, now mind you, I'm not saying her writing them off. Like anybody can be beat on any given Sunday. But bro, it's time that people not people like us as a fan base, I feel like just needs to accept that we have a good fucking team right now. I understand that we have that Jets torture chamber mindset, But to be honest with you, in Aaron Rodgers' career, he usually starts off a little rusty. It was gonna happen probably a little bit more coming into this year, being 40 and coming off an Achilles. Right now, I think that this is like these next couple weeks is a good setup for him. Now, mind you, I'm not trying to write off teams, but if you're gonna ask me what I like, when do I want to hit the Bills? It would probably be after we beat up on some inferior teams and have Aaron Rodgers clicking on all cylinders. Now, in regards to this last game that we just played, I understand that the Pats are not considered an inferior team, but how long has it been since they beat them at home, like or in a primetime game? Like, it's okay to be happy about that shit. I understand that, like, everybody wants to say, well, it was only the Pats. Bro, I don't care what any other fan base says. This shit is a fucking accomplishment. And what I saw out of Aaron Rodgers was him making throws that only a handful of fucking quarterbacks in this league can make. At 40, coming off an Achilles, I seen him being more confident in his body, more confident in his athleticism. That to me spells him clicking, and we have not seen other wrinkles of this offense even like hit their stride either. Like, Mike Williams has not been fully healthy yet. He's still in this pitch count. Garrett Wilson's still not completely on the same page as Aaron Rodgers, although he's getting, like, if you watch the film, he's getting open consistently. I think they just need to get that timing together. Breece Hall has not taken the game over. Usually against the Broncos is when he goes video games. So, like, I just think that right now there are a lot of things to be excited about. Like, just all I would do is implore people to to understand that, like, it's okay to like have nice things and accept that, like, your team is fucking good. And mind you, like,
Yeah, but Tylee, can I just comment on that with you? Because no, you're right. But like for you to I love your positivity here, and I'm happy. Like, this is a breath of fresh air that there's finally positive shit in the fan base, like as far as winning. But there's still a part of me that's trying to change the culture of how I root for this team, and it's very
bro, it's
hard,
been a
bro.
decade plus of.
It's hard, man.
No, I get it. It's been a decade plus of like no playoffs and no success, bro. That's about half of my life. Like, I'm 28, so 13 years under the playoffs is insane if you think about it. But I just need, like, I'm looking at it like at a simple situation. Why do when people pick who's gonna win these fucking games, right? It usually starts off with what's the quarterback matchup. We finally have a guy who I feel confident being matched up against any quarterback in this league. Couple that with a great defense. Mind you, yeah, like, we probably need to add another piece to that fucking D-line rotation. But at the end of the day, right now, as it stands, it seems like they're getting their heads out of their ass. I think that this is more than like just having good players too. Like, I think
You'll land
that,
on
like,
this next point too, if
having
that's all
Aaron
right.
Rodgers has completely shifted the mindset of the team. Like, the dude raises the standard. Like, you can see it, bro. They're like, I've been watching this team die hard every single fucking year, probably since I could like process football, bro. The energy that this team is giving out, the aura that this team is giving out, is different from other years.
All right,
I'm not
T,
saying
can you hear
it's a
me?
Super Bowl team. Matter of fact, that's the fuck I am saying.
T,
It's a
can
Super
you hear
Bowl
Mark?
team.
Tyler, could you hear me?
Their mindset is completely different, and
T,
the
can you
aura
hear
is
anybody,
completely
bro?
different.
T, can you hear me? Oh, all right. No, a couple.
He's cruising. I just wanted you to land on that point because we got our
Tylee,
hands.
drop
I
and come
appreciate what you're
back.
saying.
Oh, you hear?
You good? You good?
All right.
I'm on.
Tylee, awesome.
All right, cool.
Thanks for the positivity. Mean that. Come back.
Yeah, he's right. And listen, the other point too. Look, I was saying Rodgers is great, and the rest of it, the detractors should shut up or just say what. But it is also a one-game sample size. Like Petey said, it's one great game. It was a good football team that played a great game against New England, but it's also one game. I don't think they're playing their best football yet, but after 2-3 games of like consistent Rodgers, if you're not sold at that point, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think it's at that point, it's like you want to be right more than you want to see what the hell's going on.
Yep.
That's what it looks like to me.
But speaking of going
Here we
on,
got
Dom, what's going on? Can you say good morning, boys? I haven't heard that in a while.
June Smith sighting.
Dom.
Hello.
Dom, what's up? Good morning.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good.
How are you?
What's up?
Hey, I'll be quick because I know there's a ton of other hands. I I think the one thing that we all forget, and not just Jets fans, but every fan from every organization, is the NFL is a week to week league, right? What happens what happens one Sunday is not guaranteed to flow over to the next Sunday because the situations and the specifics all change. I'll say this to kind of dovetail on what everyone said, and I believe it was Charles, and I really appreciate and agree what he said, is that for the first time in a while, we're winning the games that we're supposed to be winning. I will say and push back a little bit on the Tennessee game. I don't, the score of the Tennessee game was what it was. We came out, on the road with a win. Week 2, still early. I don't think the game was as close as the score made it be. Now, what made it close was at the end, the Jets and their defense went back into that bend and don't break mentality. I think it still is going to come down. What I was most impressed with last week, it was dominated on all 3 aspects of the field. But what I felt for the first time in a long time, I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees, but I felt that the team was prepared. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like we had a coaching disadvantage going into this game. Like, they came out prepared. They executed what they prepared. And that to me was really, really nice to see. I think going into this matchup, and that's what it is. It's a week by week league. On paper, and matchups, I like the match. I like us on paper. I like the matchups that we have. I think we're strong where they're weak, and vice versa. But the big disadvantage is I think that Sean Payton is still a much better coach than Robert Saleh. So if the Jets can come out prepared and have a game plan that looks like, that they had 10 days or 9 days to get ready for, and they execute that game plan like they did coming out for New England, I think we're in for good things. Bo Nix, I heard Mark talking about, Bo Nix looked good, so on and so forth. The stats look good. He did. And I will compliment the player, the young player, is that, and this is probably more Sean Payton, is that he kept him within himself, right? He was 22 of 28 or something like that, 250 yards, with an average depth of target under 5, so he did what he does very well. Control the ball, don't force it, take what they're giving to you. That's a way that again, they came out of that game with 6 field goals. So the offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders. Am I expecting their offense to click on all cylinders this week versus Jets? I don't know what all cylinders is for them, but I think if we come out with a game plan to disrupt a young rookie quarterback who's, has not proven to me yet much of anything outside of the fact that, he put up some good stats checking down the ball and not turning it over. I think we're in good shape. Their defense gets at the pass rusher. So I think this game is going to be a lot of how well or if we can continue to roll and really gelling on that offensive line, because our run game should be able to, take charge. We have a clear and distinct advantage at the quarterback position. They have Surtain, who's a fabulous quarterback, and I expect him to shadow and follow Garrett Wilson all over the place. But Aaron Rodgers shows that when that happens, he's going to look to other mismatches. So, week to week, we need to just keep piling up wins, and that's what it is. We don't have to look forward. I try not to look forward or look ahead or expect this or that going, into Pittsburgh or home against Buffalo. We need to come out and Robert Saleh and his staff needs to be prepared and have a game plan to handle the task at hand. And that task at hand this week is really neutralizing the Denver pass rush and keeping the ball out of the hands of the offense on Denver. Because if we do that and we control the time of possession, you're going to force Bo Nix to have to take shots and have to, get a little risky. And he can't just keep taking the checkdowns. that to me, I think is what's of paramount importance is really come in with a game plan and execute that game plan week by week. The Denver team that played last week is not going to be the Denver team that we face this week, and vice versa. The Jets team that was on the field versus New England, we can't expect that everything is going to click as it does. We can hope it will, but everything is week by week, man.
Yeah. Yep. We got to force Bo Nix to make mistakes. June, good morning. I know you just came up. Hope all's well, man.
My man June.
Good morning. Good morning.
What's up? Mark, do you know that
June,
Mark,
aka Ravens flock for a day.
Mark,
June.
not that
Yes.
Mark, not that I need to tell everybody, but I'll be back in a few. I'm going in a doctor's office, all right? I'll be back.
Yeah, man. All good. How you doing, June?
I'm good, Mark. How you doing there, brother?
I'm great, man. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about this morning? What are your thoughts?
I'm beating some Broncos ass, and let me be honest with you. I don't want to get too ahead or be here talking with green goggles, but I will say, because me and the way I see Aaron Rodgers to be with his pettiness, that he hasn't forgotten what happened last year with the whole Hackett and Sean Payton thing, and I think he's gonna try to air them out. I really
I'm
do.
here for that. I'm here for that. Listen, I'm here for that. I said earlier, June, before you came in here, have any of these offensive players had their breakout performance? Like Lazard has had a couple touchdowns, right?
Yes.
And that's great. But we haven't seen the Brees takeover game, and this could be it, right? We haven't seen – I mean, Braylon Allen looks nice. Garrett Wilson hasn't had his breakout. Mike Williams.
But
Like, there's a lot of talent.
Mark, you're right. None of them have.
Would you rather it be takeover or Aaron Rodgers and friends every week where you don't know?
The latter, Jones. I want to see more distributing.
That's a good call, Jones.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more of that, which is spread it out. Because it's so hard to defense. It's so hard to play D on that.
You just need a game from one guy. I agree, though. We need a 100-yard game from one guy this week, like, just to set us up for the next few weeks, you know?
Yeah, but Jeremy, to be fair, and then whoever's next, I still got one more
Jim,
minute.
we got to hear from
him.
Good,
to be fair, like, listen, the way the Bills are winning with Josh Allen, I've been saying this. Aaron Rodgers has been doing the same thing. I mean, I know Conklin had 93 yards. That's a really good game, but he's been spreading the ball out to everybody. And to me, that's the formula to win this year.
And you know what? I think, well, you could pretty much say that was Conklin's breakout game.
Yeah, it probably was his best game for sure.
You also don't want him to be
the focal point.
No. But like there have been times in the career where in his career where Aaron Rodgers has been accused of force feeding Devontae Adams. Like there have been many times. I think the one playoff game against the 49ers where he just kept looking for Devontae. You want him to continue playing the way he is. You don't want him to force feed Garrett all the time. Like you want him to play the way he's playing.
I agree.
Jim, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. June, you read my mind, man. So I was confident. I'm confident going into this week and for a W. And my only concern was to piggyback off Dom. He read my mind also. Was Salah being outcoached by Sean Payton. But then I was reminded by my son about what Payton said about Hackett, basically calling Hackett an idiot, saying they were the most dysfunctional coach team. And Rodgers, the prick, is never going to forget that. He didn't get his chance to light him up. And you know he's going to go into this game looking to light this team up because that's the way he is. And you know he's going to get the defense fired up too. He's going to tell them, yeah, we're going to light this up and make, he basically called Hackett the worst coach in the NFL. He's not going to forget that. So, June, right on the money, bro. You read my mind. So am I not confident now? I'm even more confident. Now I expect the ass whooping because the prick Rogers is going to come out and shove it up his ass.
Look,
Incredible.
I had forgotten about it too, but I can't even take the credit for it. A couple of days ago, one of our listeners had sent me a message like, and I was like, wait a minute, I forgot all about that. He's right. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, I
yeah,
forgot about it until my son
yeah.
reminded me. He's not. He's gonna, and he didn't get to, pay him back for that shit last year. So I mean, he didn't call Hackett like a bad coach. Like he basically said, like
He
he's
called
an
him
idiot.
like an idiot. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah,
That's what he
he
did.
happens to be right about it, though. Unfortunately.
Well, he could be right, but that's Aaron Rodgers' fucking guy. So, and again, the prick Rodgers is gonna come back and want to shove it right up his ass and say, how's the coaching now? He'll give him his flowers and shit. So, yeah, I was confident about the win. I was worried about being outcoached by Peyton, but prick Rogers coming out, I expect to be chilling by in the fourth quarter. Might maybe see Tyrod Taylor just throw a couple touchdowns just
Woo.
for fucking shits and giggles.
Well, thank you, Jim, for that. And here's hoping we see PR this Sunday. Let's hope for that. Jones, good morning. How are you? Jones, hello.
Jones.
Jones, Jeremy.
Then we'll have to swing it back to Chris then.
What's going on, June?
Oh, there
My
we go.
brother, what's going on with you,
My
brother?
man, what's good? I was silently cursing you, man. I've been here for a minute, man. Where you been at?
You know, life calls sometimes,
Nah,
brother. You know, you gotta
nah,
handle
nah,
what you
no.
gotta handle.
What's good? Good morning, man. What's good? Um,
Good morning, man.
real quick. I can't leave this Alex Singleton thing alone, and the replacement of, I should say. Um, I'm just thinking about the inside linebackers. Um, Pause for that. Barton Welch, the additions of Quan Alexander, Zach Cunningham, stuff I said earlier. Justin Sternad. Is there a possibility that you can stress them further with a two-back formation? That's one of the things I'm thinking about. It was mentioned earlier. I think when Dom was here, about constantly confusing young quarterbacks. Now we've had our own young quarterbacks, so we know what it's like to be on the other end of that. And this offensive line of Garrett Bowles, Powers, Wattenberg, Miners, and Petruski, who's in his second start, did very well last time out. How are we going? What are we going to do against them? And then the last thing, that matchup with Garrett Wilson and PS2 is going to be something. It's the others that I'm thinking about that you guys mentioned earlier, the ball distribution, to Lazard, Williams, Conklin, Gibson, Ruckert, Hall, Allen out the backfield, maybe Davis a little something. And then that welcome young Olu to the party. What are we gonna do against JFM and them boys? DJ Jones, Zach Allen. You got Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper. I'm not looking past nobody. I'm not sleeping on nobody. Nah. I'm not gonna catch me slipping, get caught lacking, nothing. Need to take this team out for real. Get to the end of the first quarter 3-1, and then go on this trip. I'm on mute.
I want to talk about Olu, but I'm going to wait until Pete's back for that.
And you know what? It's something that you brought up. And as good as this season looking, I mean, it's only been 3 games, but as many as the pros there is a slight con, Mark, that I really wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up a little later, actually, but being that Chris just hit on it real quick, let me bring this up. Here go to reality check. I'm going to ask you the question, Mark. Question for the room. Maybe Garrett Wilson isn't as good as we thought he was.
Oh, woo. All right. Are we talking about it?
Let's talk about it.
You know, oh man, I asked the room a question. I remember in the preseason, is Garrett Wilson a top? Like, is this the year that he makes an argument for being a top 5 receiver in the league? And he's had his flashes. I mean, he had a decent game against New England, but again, teams have been trying to remove him from the game. He's been a major focus of the game plan, is how do we find ways to double Garrett? Those aren't my words, by the way. Those are Aaron Rodgers' words. And when he talks, I listen, right? This is going to be another week of that with Surtain, who is arguably the best corner in football, right? So I'm not expecting Garrett to show up, but at the same time, Garrett has been leaving yards and points on the field. There are details he's missing. Toe tapping in bounds, being in exactly the right spot for routes. Like they're not yet clicking. So I'm going to reserve judgment on whether or not he's top 5 until another 3 weeks in, I think. But I'm concerned. I want to see him. I want to see a better version of him on the field because look, what's going to happen? Like Lazard's starting to be a solid red zone target. Okay, Brees Hall will start to come on. He's hitting Conklin in the seam. That's great. What happens when Mike Williams starts to flash? Because everyone's shading towards Garrett. Mike Williams is going to have his breakout at some point. And so I don't think Garrett Wilson's going to be the forgotten man, like not by any stretch, but there's room for them to grow. Their chemistry it's not there yet. But that's good. It's encouraging too. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
No. I'm sorry. What I was saying, Mark, was I don't know about double so much. He might have. I mean, he was being guarded by the team's best corner, and let's face it, and out of the first 3 games, he played 2 of the top 5 corners in the league.
Well, and he's getting doubled too. That's the thing, man. They're trying to get him out of the game.
Now, let me say this.
Can I ask y'all a question? What did you?
Yeah, we're just talking, man.
No. What did you just say about the aforementioned player?
Maybe he isn't as good as
the last 5 to 10 seconds.
Oh, the top 5, top 10 cornerbacks he's been playing.
And I heard shading towards.
Yeah, I said that.
Do we do that for just average wide receivers?
So we don't, Chris, but at the same time, like if you look at some of the best, like you don't think Justin Jarrett. Again, I'm changing my expectations for Garrett.
Thank you. That's what I'm getting to, Mark. Go ahead.
Right, Jay Jettas. People are worried about him. Jamar Chase, Hill. Like if you want to be in that rarefied air of top wideouts in the league, like then you should, even in situations where the defensive coordinator circles you and says, you're not allowed to be a factor in this game. What do we say about those guys? Well, they're still going to eat. Where is Garrett Wilson eating in this? Is he like that? I want to see that.
Wait. I'm just saying, just off the, I've seen this dude for the last 2 years. The last year, he self-described the worst year of his life. Went over 1,000 yards. Who was his quarterback? Mind you, you are not wrong. I'm waiting to see the explosion too. I think they've really only had 3 NFL games together. I'm willing to give it 8, 9. Talk to me after 10 games. But I hear
now,
you.
Chris, let me ask you this question. Yeah. Did he get those 1,000 yards? And we say because look who was throwing him the ball. that could also play a part of why he was open, because the cornerback didn't think that quarterback was going to get him the ball. It's some things you can look at. I don't want to say he's that he's not good, because he's a very good wide receiver, but maybe he's not as good as we thought that he was.
Nah. I think Garrett Wilson is who we think he is, June. But I think that when his frustration last year didn't come from the stats or getting the ball, it was just coming from the pathetic play, the pathetic losing. I think he will trade off 950 yards to get that 10 or 11 wins and make the playoffs. The ball is going to be spread around. Not to mention, we have a running back too that will probably be a starter for many teams in the NFL. And it's showing that he can catch out the backfield as well as Breeze. We got a tight end who can make a play. Nah, no, ma'am. I don't got a key for that door. And then Ruckert, your guy Ruckert made a play. And it looks like we have a resurgence of the worst wide receiver statistically PFF graded in the NFL ever last year. He's back looking himself. So would you trade off Garrett getting 800, Lazard getting 700, Conklin getting 600-700, and then our running backs combining for about 400, 500, 600 yards, and we make the playoffs? That's looking like what the trend is going to be. And Garrett is probably going to be a guy that he goes to in key situations. I can see a few of the games this year from Wilson being like, six or seven catches for like 75, 80 yards, just key third down catches. And obviously he'll have 100 yards. He'll probably have 1 or 2 or 300-yard games this year. But that's how the season is looking like it's going to turn out to be. But maybe if these other guys come along, he may start getting single coverage with Mike Williams coming along and Alan Lazard. He may start getting a little more single coverage look sometimes.
Let's get Anton here. He's been waiting.
June, you got some nasty work going on right now, man. I'm ready to revolt, B.
How?
Hold on.
He talking
can we get Anton here?
I'm sorry. I'll go to the hands, please. It's nasty.
Yeah, let's get Ant. Ant, good morning.
Whittle's and Ant.
Okay.
And yeah, because Whittle, I kept trying to bring him in, but I don't know. You had technical difficulties, Whittle?
Yeah, for some reason it wouldn't let me but I was going to say
great Bills face, Whittle.
Well, I didn't talk
yesterday.
about yesterday. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. I was going to say I don't think that I don't think Christian Gonzalez is the top 5 corner yet. Definitely Snead. But I just think that it's too early. Like, you don't just automatically go from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers, who's already risk averse, and they're gonna cover you differently. You're gonna see different coverages. Like, teams are going to put more into their pass defensive plan when they play you now because of the quarterback improvement. So naturally, Garrett Wilson needs to learn how to navigate that. Like, he never dealt with that until, in his career. At Ohio State, he's playing with 3, sometimes 4 other very, very good to elite level wide receivers that are probably all going to be in the NFL. So he's not seeing the same type of coverages in college. And then when he gets to the pros, he's playing with Zach Wilson, and nobody really respected Zach Wilson as a quarterback. So now he's learning to navigate the coverage that he's seeing. You guys talked all offseason about Aaron Rodgers. Has seen every coverage that everybody's ever done. Garrett hasn't. So Garrett is still learning. He's learning where he needs to be, how to use the field, and where his body needs to be in order to be more productive. It will come. And when you mention him, I don't think it's fair to put Garrett in the same conversation with a guy like Chase or a guy like Jefferson, or even to an extent a guy like Adams or Diggs or Collins or whatever, because all of those guys have help. All those guys
Why
have.
not? What about his draft pedigree? Why not?
Can I finish?
Yes, you
So
can, but I'm
all
asking. This is a conversation,
okay.
not a speech. I'm saying I'm trying to put
Okay, cool.
context around it. His
But
draft pedigree. Why not?
I was actually getting to what you were just asking. So all those other
Oh,
guys that
good.
I named, all those other guys that I named have another player at that same position that other teams have to respect on a week to week basis. T. Higgins is there. You have to respect T. Higgins. It is what it is. And if T. Higgins prior to this year, if T. Higgins was out, you still had Tyler Boyd there, who was one of the best slot receivers in the NFL over the last couple of years. Jacoby Myers may not be a household name, but he is a very, very good receiver. People who pay attention to football understand that. The New England Patriots did themselves a disservice by not re-signing Jacoby Myers and allowing him to go over to the Raiders. He's a stud wide receiver too. He's very good. They also have Brock Bowers, so they have a ton of weapons over there as well to take some of that pressure or coverage away from Adams. Diggs, Collins, they can work off of each other. They have Tank Dell down there. They have Dalton Schultz. So for Garrett Wilson and the weapons that are around him, like Williams is still working his way back. Tyler Conklin is a serviceable tight end, but hasn't really established himself as a upper echelon guy. Like there are pieces around him that need to prove themselves to be consistent threats on a week to week basis in order to free up Garrett Wilson to get to not be bottled up so much by another team's defensive plan going into the week. So I just think it's early. I think he'll figure it out. It's just going to take some time. You got to give him an opportunity to learn on the job.
Whittle, real fast. Each of those receivers that you were talking about, who were their quarterbacks, and were their quarterbacks competent, or at least more competent than Zach Wilson?
Yeah, of course. I mean that also goes into it. Now there's a credible threat at quarterback for your team. So teams are going to prepare differently. It just is what it is.
Yep. I like that. Let me just make a point real quick. I'm back, guys. First of all, guys, if you're listening, we're on YouTube live right now, streaming on YouTube. If you can subscribe to Jets Commute, we'd appreciate it. On YouTube, it's Jets Commute. We're on live as we speak. Shout out to the people listening on YouTube. And Mark, I don't know, in June, and Jeff fans, I don't know if you recall on that audible that Rodgers threw to Garrett against Tennessee, that little whatever that double move he did.
Yeah.
Rodgers criticized Garrett in a way by saying he ran the route flat. But he said, he did compliment them and say it's an easy catch for Garrett. So
Hey,
I think it's still working.
it is.
So, but go ahead.
Let me say something about Whittle point. Whittle just made a great point. And I can show you direct correlation to what Whittle is talking about with the Bengals are still a good team. I respect them. But look at Jamar's Chase numbers as soon as T. Higgins got back in the first two games without T. Higgins. When you can single down and lock down and bracket it and force other guys to beat you, it's much harder. He made a great point.
Well,
Yeah,
Jones, that's why I said in the offseason, and I know I may be a little crazy, I think Mike Williams is the X factor as far as
yeah.
the receivers, because if Mike Williams can consistently beat people down the field and get open, Garrett Wilson's going to eat.
But,
And
but
go ahead.
but CP, this is my thing, and Mark hinted to it too. The great the tier one wide receivers in the NFL, you could double, you could bracket, they're still going to eat. They're still going to get what they're going to get.
No.
And my thing is, and I'm not, once again, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying maybe he's not as good as Jet fans assumed he was. That's what I'm saying. And
That's fair.
you know what I'm saying? And I mean, when you look at it, once again, tell me what game that Minnesota played at where Justin Jefferson was not the focal point, but yet he still does his numbers.
Okay, but you can look at the other side of the ball though, June. Look at what they did to those wide receivers out
Wait, wait,
there.
wait, 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 wait. Hold on, Jones. What about the last 2 years? We're talking about Brock Bowers and Jacoby. What about the last 2 years that Adams spent in with the Raiders? Who was his? Who was he playing alongside
Hunter
of? But he still put his
Renfro,
numbers up.
Darren Waller. Like they also had the leading rusher
No,
in
no,
the
no, no, no,
NFL,
no,
Josh Jacobs.
no. Darren Waller was with the Giants last year.
Yeah, last year, but I'm saying before that there was Hunter Renfro.
But hear what I'm saying. No matter who's there, he does it. It doesn't matter who's playing with whether he has somebody or he doesn't. He puts his numbers up.
June, he's also been in the league for damn near
That
10 years.
yeah, that's
Listen,
There's a
no. Yo,
there's a level of
you
experience that comes
you're
in
not
with
listening to what I'm
playing
saying.
with that.
You're making it sound as if I'm saying he's a finished product right now. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, in the eyes of, see, I'm trying to. You don't know how much how in such high regard that Jet fans hold Garrett Wilson, because we did. But what I'm saying is, maybe he's not. We will put him in tier one, tier two. Maybe he's not tier one, tier two. Maybe he's tier three as of right now.
tier
Not to
3.
say we can't.
Oh,
Not to say. Not, listen, tier three might not be a bad thing. But what I'm saying is maybe he's not as good as we thought he was as of right now. That's not saying he don't have room to grow.
yeah, and that's what Will's
Eh,
saying. The experience.
I'm not even saying that. I just don't think you can make a judge. I don't think it's fair to judge what he is right now. Like, I mean,
You're saying he needs more time,
no, I'm not
correct?
even saying that he needs more time. I'm saying like it's week 3. Like you cannot simulate live game reps. So this like what he's doing with Aaron Rodgers on the fly in games, like that's all of this is brand new. Like your first time in algebra class, you wasn't doing calculus. Like your first time walking, you wasn't lining up for sprints. Like it takes it takes time. And this when you it for me, in my opinion, I can't judge Keon Coleman as I don't know if he can be a wide receiver one. I don't know if he can be a starting X in this league. He hasn't played enough. He doesn't have enough snaps. But I see the flashes. I know that the talent is there. When you see when you watch Garrett Wilson, what you're looking for at this early in the season are the flashes. That route against Snead, I don't care how flat or how he ran it. Aaron Rodgers is looking for perfection, and that's the right way to be. Like I think what Aaron Rodgers did with the
Correct.
coach, pushing Saul off like, "Yo, calm down," like job's not finished. That's correct because you can't carry yourself as if this is last year or the year before where we're just trying to tread water. No, this is bigger. The Jets have put together a roster to compete in December and January, not September and October. Like this is it's the role is different now. The requirement is different now. So he's pushing perfection. It's the same thing with Garrett Wilson. Like Garrett Wilson ran that route flat, cool, okay, no problem. He needs to tune that up. He still made a hell of a catch on the
He's
best.
hell
He
yeah,
made a hell of a
right.
catch in a pressure moment against one of the best corners in the league. We all watch guys on red zone drop that pass that have been in the league for years. He's in year what 3? I mean,
Yep.
he flashes too much to say that he's not as good. Now, if he doesn't
After
develop,
this,
he's a
June, let's get to Ann after you're done, June. Right?
This is what I'm about to say right now. Look, I'm about to get to Ant. Ant, hold on 1 second. Once again, my last thing I'm saying about this is I didn't say he was bad. I just said maybe he's not as great as we thought he was. That's all I'm saying. Ant, what's going on, brother? Sorry you had to wait, brother. What's going on? Good morning.
Nah, you guys are good, man. I want to keep the conversation around Garrett. I'm gonna make a point about that.
What's up, Ann?
Before I do,
Ann, by the way, shout out to your picture, man. Love Elliott, man.
yeah, man, 89 wins, bro. I don't know if they're gonna win both these games. Don't they need to win both to get 89? I don't know.
I mean, they got 87 now.
Yeah, a playoff spot, and we'll go from there. But I think that it's an experiential thing with Wilson, right? Because Devontae had the luxury of for a long time of having a nuanced playbook that his star quarterback helped him see through. And these last couple years, man, like Garrett Wilson was doing everything on a very strict basis. He knew Zach Wilson wasn't shifting the protection. He knew Zach Wilson wasn't cooking anything at the line of scrimmage to identify a weak spot in the coverage he saw to get Wilson the ball. Everything these last couple of years was force fed, with the exception of a handful of Mike White games, whatever, honestly. But now, like, he is getting in tune with Rodgers, like everybody is saying. And I think that it probably is a matter of time before, he finds his groove and they start hooking up and they start putting up monster stat lines with each other. But if it doesn't happen, and if the wealth is spread around the field consistently, like we saw it in the New England game, then, man, I'm not tripping if Wilson only goes for 1,100 yards again. I know everyone wanted him to have a 1,500 year with Rodgers at the helm. And as a fantasy owner of Wilson, I personally would love that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to start him regardless because I know he's bound to break through. It may not be to the degree we've wanted, and I think June is right about that. But if that's the case, I won't think it'll be because, or I don't think it would be because he's not as good or whatever. I think he's fine. I think he's what we hoped he would be. It's just we've got such a mind at the line of scrimmage now, snapping the ball, saying hike, and that opens everything up for the rest of the field. And we're going to have so many seamless, effortless plays now, thanks in all part to the quarterback. Like, we're not going to see receivers have to make crazy tough 50-50 grabs like we've seen the last couple of years. We will still see it, but not as much as we have.
Well, and he's going to put them. And real quick, thanks for the points and everything. Good to hear from you, man. He's going to make people. He's going to put Garrett. Rogers is going to put audible people into the right spot. He made the right call with Garrett on that play at Tennessee. He made the right call. I trust Aaron Rodgers to make the right call on the field. I don't know about you. I think you do, Ant. I would hope you do. Because I don't want to get into the earlier talk how the space started, and with doubting Rodgers, because I don't doubt the guy one bit on the field. And I stood on a hill, and I don't care.
Like, bro, I'm not
cares?
tripping if the discrepancy of targets from Wilson to the guy with the second most targets isn't that big.
Yeah.
I'm not tripping about that.
And it,
Go ahead.
Yep. And listen, I don't care. Honestly, I know it's nice to have a stat. And yeah, we all thought Garrett Wilson was going to take this massive jump because he's not with Zach Wilson. But just if we're winning fucking games, like, I don't care, man. Just win.
Exactly.
At this point now.
You're
just
right.
win games. If Garrett has 70 yards and Braylon Allen has 2 touchdowns, good. Are good.
Hey, bro, I was watching.
Teams are still gonna feast and key on Garrett Wilson, and that's gonna open up other spots for people.
PD, when I grew up watching David Nelson and Greg Salas, I realized that I cannot be picky now if we've got a good offense. I don't care how it comes. So, I mean, whatever.
Greg Salas. Can I say, I want to say,
wow.
And great stuff, and I want to say 2 things based off what you said very quick, and then we'll get to Benny, because you haven't heard from him yet this morning. And this is why with fantasy and like stats and folks, like all that stuff, like advanced analytics, stuff that will never show up on that stat sheet is how Garrett Wilson is drawing coverage and all these other guys are able to eat. And I would draw a parallel to Quinnen Williams. We had folks who said, oh, with Quinnen, man, he's drawing double teams and triple teams, and he's never going to have a 12-sack season, so don't pay this guy. Dude, look what Huff was able to do. Look at McDonald now. Folks are more like, everyone's worried about what Quinnen. I don't care if Quinnen doesn't have another 12-sack season. I could give a F. If the defense is hunting, you know how many guys have half a sack on that D-line because everybody's able to eat because of the space and attention that Quinnen draws? If Garrett's able to do that on the other side of the ball, that's great for the Jets. It's great. And it's especially great when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers who can take advantage of the fact that Garrett's getting doubled and drawn undue attention. Like, he'll make you pay if you're That's what I saw in this last game. I know it's a 1-game sample size, but that's what I'm seeing. He's willing to give the ball to Conklin at the seam. He's willing to throw a 50-50 ball to Mike Williams. He'll check to a run if it's there regardless. Like, it's fine, dude. And the fantasy guys, fantasy be damned. I want wins. I'm a fan of the team. I want the team to win. Whatever it takes to do that, I'm in favor of it, regardless of stat line and contracts and the rest of it. Benny, go ahead, man. Good morning.
Good morning. Y'all can hear me okay?
What's up,
Yeah,
Benny?
man. What's
Yep.
up? Good to
We
talk to
Good to
you.
got
hear
we
from you,
got you,
man.
babe.
Yeah, what's going on, bro? Obviously, I'm gonna preface this by saying Garrett Wilson is absolutely my fucking favorite player on the Jets football team right now. He's a fucking stud. I agree though with June. Like I think he's a fucking great. He's a wide receiver one. Like, I don't think you could debate that. I just think it's slightly unfair to put the. I mean, a lot of us were like, "Oh, he's gonna be top five. He's gonna be top five." There's a
Thank
lot of
you.
really to crack that top five.
Thank you.
It is a challenge. You know what I'm saying? If he's the 10th best, if he's the 11th best wide receiver in the league, that's more than okay. You're
Yes.
gonna win a lot of fucking football games like that. And
Yes.
I'm cool with Garrett Wilson being the 10th best wide receiver in the league. I just think that pressure of he's gonna be top five. He's gonna be top five. Maybe is a little bit far fetched because is he on the same level as Tariq Hill? Is he on the same level as Jamar Chase? Is he on the same level as Justin Jefferson? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? He could be. I'm not saying I'm not gonna take that away from him. I just don't think he's there yet. But regardless, it's more than okay. And I know like this is not gonna happen now, but if you really want to look into the future, Jets win ball games, blah, 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 blah. I know a lot of Jets fans are under the belief that Devontae Adams is bound to be a Jet. It is what it is. If Devontae Adams is ever that dream becomes a reality, Devontae is traded to the New York Jets. Devontae, in all likelihood, is going to be the wide receiver one, and that's going to bother people. I already know, like it is
Facts.
what it is. That's okay. Devontae would be the wide receiver one. And the last thing I'm going to say is, I know this is another thing that's going to really bother fans, uh, and it's okay too. Malik Neighbors has a higher ceiling than Garrett Wilson. If I'm being
Yes.
as a football player, Malik Neighbors, in all likelihood, will be a better wide receiver than Garrett Wilson. But again, that doesn't mean Garrett Wilson bad. It's the reality of it. So
So June and Benny, if that's the case,
I heard you, Benny. Sorry.
would y'all agree
Go
that
ahead, Jones.
Lazard is better than what we thought?
Well,
Yeah.
can I answer
Yeah.
that?
I would have to say
Uh,
yeah. I mean,
well,
showing it.
listen, Lazard checked out last year, and I don't
Yeah, he did.
respect that. I mean, but he's got his buddy back. You could look at what Lazard did, Jones,
Oh yeah,
after he immediately ran the ball to Rodgers, knowing that it was his first touchdown at MetLife. He knew it.
yeah, I agree, Petey.
Like,
It was
and
Lazard.
he ran right to him. Like, I know it's, football, and that's what, the players do, especially even when people get, Mark, you're going to hate this, when they get their first hit in baseball and all that shit, but, like he ran the ball right to him and he fucking like was congratulated. Bro, those guys are locked in together. Lazard's already done more this year than he has last year. Let's be real.
Yeah, but just like what Benny said, like I said, being number 10 or number 12 or number 11 best wide receiver in the league, I would take that all day. I'm just saying maybe he's not what in most Jet fans' eyes, but because we was all saying it. I was guilty of part of it too, saying like this guy's top 5, top 10 wide receiver in the league. Maybe he's not
Yep.
that.
Can I say something on it? Look,
Uh,
and I want to get Augustine.
yes, Mark,
Yeah.
real quick.
Yes,
Can
go
I
ahead,
just
Pete.
say one thing, Mark? Sorry. Guys, I see a couple of more subscribers that subscribe to YouTube. Thank you. Keep it up. I don't want to, I'm going to keep, plugging this, but we need to get to a certain level, but thank you to you guys. Again, if you can subscribe to Jets Commute on YouTube, we're live right now. I know there's a few people listening on YouTube. Shout out to you. We do this more, if there's comments from YouTube, we'll answer them and try to get to you. But we appreciate you. So again, if you can subscribe to Jets Commute on YouTube, appreciate it. I see Eugene in here, Certified Bird, Dan Moscow, Viz, Nikki, Hector, Mr. Sandy. What up? Continue, Mark. Go ahead.
Thanks, Pete.
Sorry about
No,
that.
no, it's good. I'll post the link up in the jumbo in a couple. And listen, man, it's a great and a free way to support the room. Subscribing on YouTube. A lot of time. Listen, Pete won't say this, but there's a lot of time and effort behind the scenes goes in to building relationship with guests, doing outreach, like there's a lot of stuff that happens that contributes to the room. So We appreciate your support. And to all these points, I think, look, man, just keeping it 100 with this. Like, part of my own disappointment with Garrett Wilson is, again, accountability. Like last year, we said, okay, Wilson and Rodgers, great chemistry, man. It's going to translate eventually, right? Now we're leading into this year. You know what? It's another OTAs and camp with Rodgers. The chemistry is going to be great. And now you have a real quarterback throwing you the football who can hit you with timing and rhythm and can move you around to get you in a great position to be successful. And I'm not satisfied. I'm not giving him a pass. Like, I'm not satisfied with the level of chemistry I'm seeing yet. Now, can it get better? 100%. I don't think Garrett Wilson is a punker. Like, he's a hard worker. He said himself in post-game interviews, I watched the one that he and Sauce gave after the Thursday night victory, where Garrett said, you know what? It's the details. I got to work on the details. As an offense, we need to work on our details to get it better. It's not just him saying it about the football team. He's saying it about himself. Like, I think he will get there, but he's not playing. Garrett is not playing his best football yet with Rodgers.
Mark, real quick. I don't think, and when I say real quick, I'll be really quick here. Did anybody? No. I'm not. That's not a shot at anything. I'm just saying. Did anybody see when Garrett Wilson caught that touchdown? Like, he ran away. Like, and I think Rodgers kind of waved at him. Like, what are you doing? Like, he thought he was going to come up to him,
I
and
saw
he
that
just
too.
ran away to the sideline. And Rodgers was like, whatever, and he celebrated. So is that Garrett just being frustrated that finally it worked? And go ahead. That's my thing.
It's something to keep an eye on. I mean, look, man, Garrett, look, where I'm at with this and Garrett Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers, which I can't even believe we're thinking about it or talking about it that way. I'm of the opinion Garrett Wilson needs to write these words down and read them every morning. Whatever Aaron Rodgers wants, I will do. Period. He's the most important football player on the team. Not Garrett, not Brees, not Smith. Like, you need all those players, but Rodgers is the most important. Be the guy for your quarterback that he needs you to be, and you'll win. You'll get paid. You'll have the numbers. You'll be successful. You'll be happy, but you have to serve the quarterback, period.
I mean, before I go to Chris, real quick, ask yourself this question right now. Before the season started, Chris, you remember I said this. I said the second most important player on offense is Garrett Wilson. Now, if Garrett Wilson had to miss the next game, do you really feel like we can't win that game? Of course we can, because you see what everybody else is doing. Now, ask yourself this question: if I can't believe I'm saying this shit. If Lazard had to miss next game, do you still have that same faith that the Jets can win the game?
Yes, June.
That's wild. He's been a big red zone target.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns.
All right, y'all.
All right. Well, all right. Now the controversy starts.
I'm calling a 20-second timeout, yo.
Yeah, yo, put both of your
Can you
hands
do
on
me
the
a favor?
shoulder.
Can you do me a
Reverse
favor?
style.
Can during this 20-second timeout?
We got you, Augustine. Yeah, Chris.
Can we go right to Augustine, please?
Yes.
I think he's going
to
reel it back in.
Augustine, what's up, brother? Good morning.
20-second timeout. Good job, Chris.
Hey, good morning, guys. Do you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, we got you.
Do you hear me okay?
We got you, brother.
Bring some truth, please. Help him out, Augustine.
Yeah, I just want to understand this. Like, why? I'm a Colts fan, but I'm trying to see some logic on the Garrett Wilson shade that has been thrown here. Like, how are we going to start doubting?
Wait.
Let me just finish my point.
Let the brother finish.
Let me just finish my point. Yeah, look, I just want to understand, like, a guy that came in 2022 to a terrible QB situation, still passed the 1,000 yard mark. Then the second year, when you bring Aaron Rodgers, and sadly he got injured, and then got another terrible QB situation, still broke the 1,000 yard mark. Now, like on year 3, like we start like doubting this guy, like knowing that now, hey, people are, the other teams are noticing like, hey, this is wide receiver one of the Jets, and like of course they're gonna game plan against him. So you might not be able to see him, more often, doing catches and plays. But now I understand that part of the chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. But like to start doubting this guy that has surpassed the 1,000 yard mark in his first 2 years with a shitty QB situation. Like I don't know what to tell you. And this is from a fan, from a NFL fan outside from the Jets organization. That I still don't understand. Like I would love to have Garrett Wilson on the Colts. Like I can tell you that like right now. So I don't understand. I won't say slander, but like saying like, oh, let's start doubting about Garrett Wilson. Like, hey, first 2 years, two seasons with 1,000 yards or more.
No, listen, it's no shade. Listen, it's no shade, Augustine. The thing was this: Jets fans said with Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson could be a 1,500-yard wide receiver. We all said it. I've said it. I was guilty of it too. Maybe with Rodgers, he's probably more like a 1,200-yard wide receiver, which is not bad. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying that. None of that. I'm just saying maybe we need to temper expectations
June.
on him.
Wait,
You know what?
Chris, 1 sec.
You know what? Hold up.
All right, I don't want to forget.
Yo, Augustine says you bugging. Whittle says you bugging. I say you bugging.
Look,
anybody else want to
wait. This is why I wanted to answer.
June.
No, I'm not ganging up on June. June, I know you're down in Atlanta and there's a hurricane coming. Is that rain right now I hear in the background? Because everybody's raining on this thing, man. What are you doing?
It's Hurricane Wilson.
Yes,
no, what are you doing? I'm not ready to write. I hear your concerns, but I'm not
writing them off. That's the whole thing. I'm not writing him off. I'm saying maybe let you know what? Let me speak of it in Madden terms. We had expectations of him being a 97. Maybe he's a 91. That's cool. You can still win. I'm not saying that the guy is terrible. I'm just saying maybe he's not what we thought that he was. That's it. Look. You can still be a star. Maybe you're not a superstar. That's cool.
Well, I'm out on that, June. I'm out on that point. I think.
Garrett Wilson
I think
has to be here for 10 years.
I think Garrett. Listen, I don't think we've seen the best football of him with Rodgers. I think Garrett's mentality is great and his obvious physical gifts. Right now, we just got to see him, and I think he knows, and I think he's going to put the work in to improve. But look, I'll ask the room today to draw a line in the sand and kind of have June's back a little bit. Is Garrett Wilson a top 5 receiver today? Like, do you think he's a top 5 guy? Even as the year ends, do you see him as a top 5 wide receiver?
As of right now, Mark, no.
Thank you.
No, but there's still 14 games to go.
Wait. No. But see what Mark's saying? As of today, matter of fact, do you see him as a top 10 wide receiver, Petey?
Right now,
Petey, like you said, there's still 14 games left.
So
I just looked at the stats through 3 games last year. Let me pull up my calculator. Garrett Wilson had 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. 70 of those yards came on a broken slant route where Zach hit him on the game against the Cowboys. Other than that, we did shit. We had 20 minutes of possession against the 49ers when our offense was, everybody saw it, pretty much dog shit. Like, it's 3 games through the season and he's got 150 yards. He's more consistently productive than he was even through the first 3 games last year with less yards. Let it play out. I just don't even see why this is a conversation right now.
Is he top 5?
The fuck does it matter? He's one of the best wide receivers in the AFC.
Listen, whoa. I'm asking The
Like what?
question, for conversation's sake, is he top
But is
five?
it? But it's the conversation of, is it top five quarterback? Is he a franchise quarterback? Yeah. Like, is he a franchise wide receiver? Is he a guy that you would build your wide receiver room around?
The
Yeah.
answer is
Like,
yes.
there's only one Patrick Mahomes. Okay. But I would have a Josh Allen. I would have a Lamar Jackson. I would have a guy that's rated 15. Like, I want a franchise guy. It doesn't matter if he's top five. What is that? Does that get you any flowers being top five? None of that matters.
June, you
All right,
got
let's
people
get
riled up here, June.
yeah.
Wait. I don't know whether he came in later for you to hear the entire thing. My thing was, I said maybe he's not as good as we all assumed he was, as far as being that elite wide receiver. He's good. He's good. He could be great. Maybe he's not elite. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. Is it too early? The first thing I said before I said anything was, I know it's just 3 games. That's the first thing I said now.
Yeah,
I
I
said, I
missed
know
all
it.
that, June. Yeah, that's right.
Right,
That's right. And
right.
that's it.
Thank
That's
you.
it. Like the
Thank
guy with Justin Jefferson. Like, you see all those guys, no matter what it is, shaded coverage, double coverage, fucking triple coverage.
Thank you.
Those guys will all beat that, no matter what. And
Thank
you
you.
don't know it,
Thank you. That's my point.
and you don't know if that's because the chemistry they have with the quarterback, or they're just pure talent. We're not seeing Wilson do that right now. Same thing with Quentin Williams. We're not seeing him do that right now. Do they affect the rest of the players around him? Absolutely. They're still good
100%.
players.
Yep, I agree with that point. We got. I know Pete's got 10 minutes in here. We want to make sure we round out
Big
these
brother,
hands.
sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Big brother, sir, had his hand up. What up, certified? Good morning.
Good morning, fellas. Good morning. Listen, man, I hear what y'all saying, but I think it's a bit of an overreaction, man. It's just 3 games. You know what I'm saying? And also I just feel like things are kind of blending together. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's different now. You know what I'm saying? Like these. If you okay, like for instance, I'm gonna use my game against Minnesota for example. Jettis had like 8 catches. No, it was 11 catches. Like 7 of them came from the slot, you know, and it's like I don't at this I used to what am I trying to say? I used to hold that against wide receivers, but I don't think you can anymore because that's just the league now. You know, like I remember growing up and seeing wide receivers have to stay outside on an island and just beat that man and beat the safety. Now it's different. You know what I'm saying? They're not asking the star guy to just straight up beat the best cornerback and the best safety. Like they're moving them around. They're trying to find matchups and mismatches and shit like that. And it's like, you know, y'all offense is pretty new, man. I'm just looking at what Garrett has done. Now, granted, you probably gonna come off the mic and start yelling at me because I didn't have a lot of good words to say about him before the season started, but after actually watching him play, man, like he does what they ask him to do very well, you know. So I think that right now cohesiveness is is the culprit. Uh, the numbers will start coming. You know, and also, man, it's like the first 4 or 5 games of the season, coordinators are really trying to figure out what everybody is doing. I mean, because playbooks don't change. Coaches don't just make whole new playbooks during the off season. They take away old wrinkles, add new wrinkles, take away old nuances, add new nuances to the playbook. So it's just give it time, man. It's week 4.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Damn, it's
I'm
raining,
not gonna
bro.
curse you out, big brother, sir. I'm not gonna curse you out.
All right, 1 second, June. Give me a second here. Just a friendly reminder, guys, as we plug in. The show's about to end.
This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. defense.
Come on, Sebastian, bob that head. Pause. Thanks to my
This is Fireman Ed.
there.
And
There
you're
you go
listening
again. All
to
right.
Oh,
Jets
you played it
Maybe do
again?
it again. By the way, thanks to Fireman Ed for that. Shout out to him. Jeff fans, make sure you show up Sunday and be loud. All right. And,
I like the Broncos. I raised my hand. Zach Allen. Zach
oh
Allen is still
man, Kicker's
possible.
not in here. You
Yeah.
sound like
Yeah, that's
Kicker
why
right
you didn't
now.
give me the mic. I like Zach Allen and I like
Guru,
Surtain Jr.
you always
The
get a
Denver
mic.
defense, they
Stop.
just lost Alex Singleton, but they're very well coached. They do exotic pressures with Van Joseph, and they're going to get after Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, you're not going to be it's going to just be like the Titans game. And Bo Nix, he has supreme
Tweet
confidence
this out,
after going to
Guru.
Wait,
Tampa
Tweet it
Bay
out.
and being
no.
Tampa
Hold
Bay,
on,
okay?
Sebastian. I have a
Yeah, I
question.
know.
Yo,
Have a good
Because
one, man. And just
let him rock.
play the music.
Guru, real fast. Who do you think is going to be the
Sebastian,
replacement for
Chris,
Alex
call him
Singleton? Because I think
Sebastian.
I'm. Oh,
So
my fault.
they drafted the Drew Sanders kid from Arkansas.
Yeah,
That's
but
who's going to
didn't.
start.
Yeah, wait. But wasn't he already hurt? Because I'm serious, and I'm dead serious. I'm listening
Uh,
to Locked On Broncos this morning. They
yeah,
talking about Cody Barton. They talking about Christian Welch. They're talking about the addition of Quan Alexander, Zach
yeah. That's why
Cunningham.
they signed Quan Alexander. Yeah, that's right, my
Okay,
man Quan. Yeah,
hold
yeah.
up,
Quan
Lavelle
Alexander's a
Bailey
baller.
and
He
Justin.
needs a contract. Yeah, I like the Broncos. I forgot they
Guru,
got
I
Stop
have
it.
a
We
Quan.
know
wait.
Quan is
Quan.
a dog. What do you
Stop
mean
it.
stop?
Go,
He had an
Guru,
interception
come
versus the
on.
Titans last year with me. Hello.
Hello, Guru. Oh man. Well,
Yeah, I don't. But look, June. I don't
Can
have to
I ask
get a
you
flat
another
today. I don't have
question?
to get a jump today, June. I'm excited.
Yo,
Can
Yeah.
I
wait, hold on. Will the
ask you?
Jets
Talk to
score
me
more
nice,
points?
June.
Hold
Let
on.
me
Wait,
ask you another
Chris.
question.
Will the Jets score
All
more
right.
points than the Steelers did against the Broncos? Is the question.
It doesn't matter. We won the game.
Yeah,
Steelers
you're
don't
right,
score
Y'all not
Guru.
points,
gonna
This
dude.
is for
win.
you, by
Y'all
the
gonna
way,
lose.
Guru.
You keep bringing up our
For you,
points.
Guru and Mark.
Y'all are gonna lose.
Let it play real quick. There we go.
It's the
ah, come
Broncos.
on, man.
Yeah, we'll
Let's
seat
go,
you at your
Mets.
table. We'll make the guacamole right in front of you. Enjoy.
Yeah, I'll be playing some music after that Broncos
Oh
anthem.
man, I can't wait, Guru. I can't wait.
He
All
should
right,
tweet
sorry
out
about that.
that he's taking the Broncos in this one. He really should, and
Yeah, but Guru,
put it in writing.
but Mark, in the off
He
season,
gets
Guru was
emotional.
saying we're going to make the playoffs. He was saying that. And now, he's 3-0. He's bumping his chest. Good for him.
They're playing great defense,
He
and
left.
Fields is
Yeah,
looking.
wait.
It's a great
Mark,
storyline. Yes,
their defense is giving up 8.6 points a game.
Yeah,
That's
I
incredible.
know. The
look, it's a
Steelers
great
are really
storyline,
good.
but is it sustainable? I want to see.
So
It's
Mark,
fine.
is the Steelers scoring a race to 22? Because they've only scored 20 points once.
Oh, the solid
Yeah,
style.
Mr. Sandy, go ahead.
listen, funny you mentioned that. Funny you mentioned that, PD. I was looking at it yesterday. I think to beat Pittsburgh, you got to score 20. You have to score 20.
Yep. Matthew, what's up? Good morning. Good to see you.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Great, man.
What's
Great.
going on, brother?
What's going on? I just wanted to comment, real quick. Was listening to you guys. June. I see your point when you was talking about Garrett Wilson. I think probably just maybe the way you phrased it, but I think what we have to really look at is now that we have Rogers back there who can actually look at the defense and dissect what they're doing. It kind of opens up the offense a little bit more because like we got two dominant running backs in the backfield. Mike Williams is slowly catching on because he had that Patriots game. He had a few good catches, and Lazard, as we see, is beginning to slowly stepping into that Green Bay transition. Because I was shocked when he did that double move on the dude to get that touchdown. Because I never seen him move shifty like that before. So he did some mental stuff over the over training camp and say he got to do better. But we got to look at as Rogers realizes that people are going to come after Garrett Wilson as far as double coverage or force Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball to him to get an interception. Remember, he doesn't like to throw interceptions. The only thing that I got to see is that Rodgers got to talk to Garrett on the side and let him know, yo, listen, teams are going to come after you this season. You're not going to have every single game to have over 100 yards. You can get 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. You could be more of a red zone threat than you are being like 50 yards down the field trying to catch a bomb. If everybody gets to touch that football, the Jets offense will be dangerous, and they're not gonna know. Defense will not gonna know what to do
No
as they
doubt.
continue to come to the Jets. And that's the only thing you gotta look at. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, if June, you said look at it from a Madden standpoint, they had him as a 97, and then maybe he's a 91, which is still good because he's in the 90s. I still believe, he's that dude. How I know he was that dude? Maybe when he first came out at Ohio State, he automatically leaped over a dude over his head to catch a football. I was like, who the hell jumps that high just to catch a football? Compared to everybody else who mosses and just put their hands over somebody. And I was like, if he has that, remember he has basketball abilities that he uses on the field. He had D1 offers to go to play basketball. So he's using that skill set on the field. They know that he has that skill set. 50-50 balls, they'll give him that chance. Running routes, he's crisp with it. It just takes time to develop. This is the first time now that he actually has somebody like Rodgers at the helm. Maybe like you said, when he caught that touchdown, PD, and he walked away. Maybe he was a little frustrated, but at the end, maybe they talked it over when the game was over
Yeah,
about it.
they saw him. Good point, man. And I'm not trying to keep going. They were seeing. I did see him smiling with him after, but Rogers did be like, "All right, you don't want to celebrate," like I love that Rogers does that. He's definitely holding people accountable, which we
But you
haven't
saw
seen
that
from a. Go ahead.
we saw that in. I don't know if you guys watched some of the tapes that was posted on YouTube and Twitter. When there was times when he and Rogers had arguments during training camp, but they still shook hands and they kept pressing forward. It's a mental thing.
I think Rodgers is demanding greatness, and he knows what he sees with Garrett Wilson and the potential, and Rodgers wants him because he's got such a short window with him, a year or two. I think that Rodgers just is demanding, like Garrett, man. I'm only here for a couple of years. I want you to elevate. That's what I think,
Yeah,
Matthew.
I mean, no, you're absolutely right, and I believe that because that's probably what he did also in Green Bay when Devontae Adams wasn't the guy because you had Jordan Nelson and Jennings in front of him, so he had to do something in order to elevate you as a receiver. I mean, granted, Devontae had more years with Rodgers, but I mean, now with that short span, as the season goes along, probably by week 6, 7, you're probably going to start seeing more of a connection. Right now is like everybody has to touch the football. It can't just be one dimensional. The offense has to open up in order for this team to be to make a noise and have an identity. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
You have a
sir.
backfield. You have a backfield. You don't know what the hell they're going to do. Are they going to run the ball? Or they're going to pass the ball. You have to keep them on defense on their toes to know what's going to
Exactly.
happen.
And
That's the idea.
Matthew, last point, and I got to close. That's why I listen, and people could say whatever. That's why I like what the Bills are doing right now. Josh Allen spreading the ball, get everybody involved, and nobody knows what's coming to hit you. That's what
Man,
I
F the
like about the
Bills.
Jets. Well, sorry, Mark, but Mark, don't get me started. I forgot to get to Olu with you, so we'll table that for
Yeah,
another
tune
day.
in
Now,
whatever
Mark, I'm
tomorrow.
not gonna lie, Mark. I'm not gonna lie. He has a point because about coming out. When I look at the Bills, Stephon Diggs left. Stephon Diggs left. I know. Look at everybody that's stepping up, touching the ball. I mean, these guys are not. These guys are not messing around. They're touching
Yeah,
the
I mean,
football. I mean,
listen, I hate the Bills, but I'm going to give them their props right now. I have to. You have to. Like
I'll
they're
give
playing.
Aaron Rodgers a props, Pete.
but Sunday,
I
but
will.
Sunday,
There you go.
Sunday is
I
the true
have Mark.
test when they go to Baltimore. We'll see if they can keep that up.
Yep. All
Exactly.
right.
That will be the measuring stick right there. Them going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
shout
they
out
do it in
kicker, by the
Baltimore,
way.
then I'll
Flock,
give them
all the
credit.
way. Ravens flock. If you guys have a
No.
chant, I want to know
Block,
it.
Ravens block,
Yeah.
block, baby,
All right.
block. Let's beat these
June.
Bills up.
June.
Real quick,
Go
wait, wait,
ahead.
wait, 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 wait,
No
wait, before you
problem.
close shop. I haven't heard from Buckeye all damn morning. Buckeye, you there?
I don't know. Is he here? He on mute.
You might have stepped away. I'll just say, go flock or flock them up or whatever you guys
Yeah,
say.
He said, "Flock them up."
Yeah, I'm here
Look,
for it.
mother flock you. Absolutely, let's do it.
All right, guys. Have a great day, June. As always, thank you, Mark. Thank you. Great job, both of you guys. Chris, Viz, Robert, Augustine, Whittles in here. Listen up. Rock, what up? Bird, Moscow, what's up? Vezo, AA Ron, Dev 3.0. Who else is in here? Geo, what's up?
Shot Rusty, OG
Yes,
Rusty, the
Rusty.
best.
Paul Bonilla, what up? Wild Wave. Have a great day, guys.
Wait, Pete. Do you remember that game show? What was it? The dating game. At the end of them, everybody get together and they blow a kiss. I want all the Jet fans to say it with me. Fuck the Bills.
Ugh.
Wow.
June ends.
Let's end it.
June ends the space on that. Have a great day, guys. June, be
Thanks,
well.
everybody.
Ciao, guys.